Alrighty. Hello everyone and welcome to my reread of Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. We will be reading three chapters today. They are chapter number 14, We Meet the Sheep of Doom, chapter number 15, Nobody Gets the Fleece, and chapter number 16, I Go Down with the Ship. Now, I absolutely loved what we got in the show. The Polyphemus' island, the rescue, Tyson being present, Annabeth getting smacked around and potentially killed off, which I don't remember if it exists in the book or not. I remember that it was a part of the movie. Literally, the fact that Annabeth gets stabbed by the manticore, I'm guessing, or something like that, and Luke saying, "Get off of my roof." Those are the only two distinct memories I have of that movie. So I don't even care to use that as a source material or reference material. I don't remember if that happens in the book or not, so I'm excited to see if that happens. I loved Polyphemus being clever with dyeing the fleece and using it as a trap while keeping the original fleece tucked in the cave. That was really cool. Tyson rescuing them, we finally getting Hippocampi, which was like, hey, yo, let's go. I was so hyped to see that. Luke being present on the island was something that didn't really make sense to me because, as I remember, Luke captures them at a later point in the book after they've already gotten the fleece. So he doesn't actively put himself in danger. He waits for them to get the fleece and then captures them, so he doesn't even have to kind of go on the quest essentially. So it was very weird to see him there, but I guess the Luke of the show is a bit more proactive than the Luke in the books. The fact that he still cares for Annabeth, ooh, Percy's grief when he thinks that he's lost Tyson, Percy's grief when Annabeth gets hurt, like you see that shift. You see the fact that when he said in the previous episode that I would burn it all down for you if I had to choose between you and Olympus, he wasn't lying. That kid was like, I'll stand on business. I will genuinely burn it all down. I absolutely loved the episode and I feel like the writers are doing such a great job with it so far. I am curious about how they're going to get Tyrant reinstated because he was fired from the position because he was framed for killing of Thalia's tree or stabbing Thalia's tree or not protecting it well enough. And then Luke essentially confesses to the whole camp because Percy is being clever and he Iris messages the camp essentially. And Luke confesses, and that helps Tyrion be reinstated. I don't know how that is going to happen in the show or in the episode. I'm hyped to see that, but that is a story for the next episode's reaction. So without further ado, let's get started on reading the book. This is one of the things I did feel was weird. Polyphemus's island in the show did not look green enough or magical enough. Outside of the time where they find the fleece inside the cave and it's all green and magical and shimmery, whereas the island did not look magical enough. Like there was dried shrubbery and dried trees, and maybe it was just the season, but the way we get it in the books, Percy essentially calls it a Caribbean postcard. It had green fields and tropical fruit trees and white beaches. You could smell the fleece's magic in the air, and we don't really get a lot of exploration of that. I'm not too hinged on it, to be completely honest. Like, it is what it is. But I would have loved to see something like just a bit more magical when it comes to the island. Like I feel like this is so funny, but the very first island that we come across at the start of this entire season, the one where Grover is attacked by Allison and the crew, that island looked like it was more powered by the Fleece's magic than Polyphemus's island. You know what I mean? What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. This is another thing. The sheep weren't killer sheep. Like they were just normal sheep, whereas the sheep that Polyphemus has in the book are essentially killer sheep. They are as big as a rhino, and when Annabeth and Percy are just scouting, a deer emerges from the bushes. It trotted into the meadow, probably looking for grass to eat, when the sheep all bleated at once and rushed the animal. It happened so fast that the deer stumbled and was lost in a sea of wool and trampling hooves. Grass and tufts of fur flew into the air. A second later, the sheep all moved away back to their regular peaceful wanderings. Where the deer had been was a pile of clean white bones. Annabeth and I exchanged looks. "They are like piranhas," she said. "Piranhas with wool." So, like, I feel like that was, once again, the show is exploring a lot. So, I absolutely get it that they didn't really want to add on to it by having piranha sheeps in the mix, especially with the angle that Percy and Annabeth were hiding with the sheep. And so, I get it, but it would have been a fun thing to see. Just another layer of danger. Like, it's not just Polyphemus animals that they have to worry about, it's also the sheep. You killed my sheep, my favorite sheep. The way that Annabeth and Percy end up at Polyphemus' cave is by traveling to the other side of the island and climbing the cliffs, though the cliff from where Polyphemus fell. That was essentially the cliff they climbed up, and Annabeth went first because she was the better climber. We only came close to dying 6 or 7 times, which I thought was pretty good. Once I lost my grip and I found myself dangling by one hand from a ledge 15 meters above the rocky surface. But I found another handhold and kept climbing. A minute later, Annabeth hit a slippery patch of moss and her foot slipped. Fortunately, she found something else to put it against. Unfortunately, that something was my face. Sorry, she murmured. It's okay, I grunted. Though I never really wanted to know what Annabeth's sleeper tasted like. Yum. This is the thing that I actually liked in the show was the fact that Polyphemus was very clever. And he kind of figured out that Grover was not his bride. But what I liked in the show as well was the fact that Clarice was not such a dumbass. Because Polyphemus turns to Grover and goes, eat loudmouth girl now or wait for wedding feast. What does my bride think? And Grover's trying to be like, I'm not really hungry right now, dear. Perhaps. And then Clarice goes, bride? What do you mean bride? That's Grover. And I remember reading this book and I went, girl, shh. He's trying to save you. Just like, just like, don't think that much sometimes. Oh my god. The Polyphemus is still confusing. Like, what satyr? Satyrs are good for eating. Did you bring me a satyr? And Cherry literally yelled, no, you big idiot. That's satyr. Grover, the one in the wedding dress. Oh, girl, oh my god. Grover literally going, stop, don't eat me raw. I have a recipe. And Polyphemus going, a recipe? And he was like, yeah, you don't want to eat meat, or you'll get E. coli and botulism and all sorts of horrible things. I'll taste much better roasted over a slow fire. With mango chutney. You could go get some mangoes right now down there in the woods. I'll just wait here. Like, I love Grover still being so smart. That was really, really cool. There are regular sheep as well at Polyphemus' camp. And Percy is hanging upside down from the belly of the sheep. Pretty much like Odysseus did. And that was really, really cool. Made a silent promise to the gods that if we survived this, I would tell Annabeth she was a genius. The frightening thing was, I knew the gods would hold me to it. Still, the reader waves. Hello, ugly, Polyphemus stiffened. Who said that? Nobody, Annabeth yelled. That got exactly the reaction she had been hoping for. The monster's face turned red with rage. Nobody, Polyphemus yelled back. I remember you. You're too stupid to remember anybody, Annabeth taunted. Much less nobody. I hope to the god she was already moving when she said that because Polyphemus below furiously, grabbed the nearest boulder, which happened to be his front door, and threw it towards the sound of Annabeth's voice. I heard the rock smash into 1,000 fragments. For a temporary moment there was silence. Then Annabeth shouted, you haven't learned to throw any better either. Polyphemus howled. Come here, let me kill nobody. You can't kill nobody, you stupid oaf, she taunted. Come find me. Girl, literally, both in the show and the book, they rage bait so good. This is the thing. Finally, I found a spinning room where Grover was huddled in the corner trying to cut Clarice's bonds with a pair of safety scissors. It's no good, Clarice said. This rope is like iron. Just a few more minutes. Like, because the rope is made by the sheep's wool, it was difficult to cut. And I really would have loved to see something like that in the show. I kid you not. It would have been so cool. Like, that's why I was like, it is the rope that Grover and Clarice have tied around them actually going to cut with the mirror shard or not. Thankfully, it cut. I would have loved those extra layers, but once again, I get where they're coming from. But yeah, I like the book version of this just a tad bit better. Just for the rope, yes. Percy has been hoping that the lifeboat that he sees on the island carried Tyson, but just as Clarice was like, I didn't even know if you guys made it out alive. Tyson wasn't on it. Percy's trying not to believe that his last hope of seeing Tyson alive had just been crushed when an explosion echoed through the cave, followed by a scream that told me we might be too late. It was Annabeth crying out in fear. So she did get hurt. I got nobody, Polyphemus gloated. As Percy, Clarice, and Grover got to the cave entrance, they see Polyphemus shaking his fist and Annabeth hanging upside down by her legs. She looked dazed, had a nasty cut on her forehead. Her eyes were glassy. Oh no, Jesus God. I like this. Attack plan Macedonia. They nodded. We had all taken the same training courses at Camp Hubler. They knew what I was talking about. They would sneak around either side and attack the Cyclops from the flanks while I held his attention in the front. Probably what this meant was that we would all die instead of just me, but I was grateful for the help. I like this. Oh, they learn helpful stuff at the camp. I'm not saying no, but getting examples of them is so much cooler. That's right, you smelly bucket of moose drool. I am nobody, and I am proud of it. Now put her down and get over here. I want to stab your eye out again. The good news, he dropped Annabeth. The bad news, he dropped her headfirst onto the rocks where she lay motionless as a rag doll. The other bad news, Polyphemus barreled towards me 500 smelly kilograms of Cyclops that I would have to fight with a very small sword. Oh, I just realized the fact that Percy has Annabeth's invisibility cap. So when they get on Princess Andromeda, is he going to wear the cap and help set her free? That would be fun to see. I'm hyped to see that. I like the book version of the fight between Percy, Clarice, and Polyphemus because in the book, both Clarice and Percy are consistently attacking Polyphemus. Clarice charges at him, and immediately after, Percy goes and stabs the monster in the toe or the ankle or the hand. And they know it's kind of like a futile attack, but they're still trying and actively fighting against Polyphemus. And I think I would have loved to see that. I get the angle the show is leaning a bit into the not all monsters are monsters or not all monsters are bad, and the fact that Polyphemus suffers through loneliness because he has been alone for so long that his loneliness has become a defense mechanism as well. I get all of that, but I would have loved to see a bit more of the fight that we get here because it's really, really cool. They even cross a bridge. Grover first takes Annabeth, who's still unconscious. Clarice and Percy go onto the other side of the bridge. Grover has cut one half of the bridge. As soon as Percy and Clarice jump, Percy snaps off the other side of the bridge as well, the rope of it, and the bridge falls down. But Polyphemus, who was chasing after them, is actually on solid ground. Like Percy was hoping that Polyphemus would fall into the chasm. Polyphemus didn't. He was standing on the solid ground. See, it feels like the danger is a bit more real. Right? Like all we see is Tyson show up and then Tyson fight Polyphemus, yes, but also Tyson just tackled him into the chasm. Once again, I get that the story that they're trying to share, the angles that they're trying to explore, especially with the fatal flaw, which I feel like the book did not do that great of a job of showing us Percy and Annabeth's fear about the prophecy. Like they discuss it once, and Percy feels really weird about it and scared about it. He gets a dream about Thalia, but that's about it. But the show, ever since the prophecy has been explored from the very first episode of this season, we have seen consequences of that knowledge. And I really like that. So I get where the show is coming from. But I would have once again loved to see a bit more of the fight as opposed to Tyson just tackling him over the other side of the cliff. Polyphemus swords, Clarice, and Grover who tried to charge at him. My anger swelled. I couldn't believe I'd come this far, lost Tyson, suffered through so much, only to fail. Stalked by a big stupid monster in a baby blue tuxedo coat. Nobody was going to swat down my friends like that. I mean, nobody. Not nobody. Ah, you know what I mean. Once again, love the humor in the chaos of it all. Strength coursed through my body. I raised my sword and attacked, forgetting that I was hopelessly outmatched. I jabbed the Cyclops in the belly. When he doubled over, I smacked him in the nose with the hilt of my sword. I slashed and kicked and bashed until the next thing I knew, Polyphemus was sprawled on his back, dazed and groaning, and I was standing above him, with the tip of my sword holding over his eye. See, like, the thing with book Percy is, as a reader, we are viewing things from Percy's POV, and we have been for a really long time. Like, especially when I was younger, I would get swapped into it, and I would be like, "Oh, that's crazy." Not a big deal for Percy, but that seems crazy. As an adult, I'm like, "That's a lot." Polyphemus is a giant, and this kid is standing on top of him. He has hurt him so much that Polyphemus has sprawled back, and Percy's about to stab out his eye. Like that's crazy stuff. That's dangerous as well. Oh, I really want to see a bit more of the fights in the show. And I think we'll get there in the future. But it would be really cool to see Percy from other people's point of view as he's fighting. Because when we get to Heroes of Olympus, Hazel, the first time she encounters Percy, she's like, he looked like a Roman god. Like he fights with hurricanes. His and Thalia's fight in the third or the fourth books is kind of chaotic, like with the hurricane and the thunder, and it's like crazy stuff. So I kind of want to see something like that. It would be really, really cool to see him fight someone. Like, yes, we got the Ares fight, and that looked really dope, but I want to see more scenes like that. What do you all think? Please know the Cyclops more pitifully staring up at me. His nose was bleeding, a tear welled in the corner of his half blind eye. No, my sheepies need me. Only trying to protect my sheep. He began to sob. I had one. All I had to do was stab, one quick strike. Kill him, Clarice yelled. What are you waiting for? Cyclops sounded so heartbroken, just like Tyson. He's a Cyclops, Grover warned. Don't trust him. I knew he was right. I knew Annabeth would have said the same thing. But Polyphemus sobbed, and for the first time it sank in that he was a son of Poseidon too. Like Tyson, like me. So how could I just kill him in cold blood? Nah, so crazy. And here we get the layers. Dwelling on the fleece, will you agree to let us take it? No, Clary shouted, kill him. The monster screamed, my beautiful fleece, prize of my collection. Take it, cruel woman, take it and go in peace. I'm going to step back slowly, I told the monster. One false move. Polyphemus nodded like he understood. I stepped back, and as fast as a cobra, Polyphemus smacked me to the edge of the cliff. Oh, Tyson is here, let's go. That Polyphemus, Tyson said. Not all Cyclops is as nice as we look. Tyson, thank the gods. Annabeth is hurt. You thank the god she's hurt? He asked puzzled. No. Crazy kids. This is what I mean. Like, the humor, even in tense moments, is so crazy, and I love it. Especially with the fact that this was written for kids, so moments like these are really helpful and like helping us pace ourselves and just breathe. Annabeth, as soon as she starts to get conscious and sees Grover, she weakly asks, "You're not married?" Grover went, "No, my friends talked me out of it." So Polyphemus still lives. I forgot about this fact. Polyphemus still lives, and as Percy, Annabeth, Clarice, and Grover and Tyson are running to Queen Anne's revenge, Polyphemus is splashing towards them with a boulder in each hand. You would think he had run out of rocks. But shut up. We don't. I built a sea to rise. A 6 meter wave surged out, lifting me on its crest. I rode towards the Cyclops and kicked him in the eye, leaping over his head as the water blasted him onto the beach. You see what I mean? Like, this is crazy ass stuff. Fleece stealer, Polyphemus fluttered. You stole the fleece, I heard. You've been using it to lure satyrs to their deaths. So, satyrs good eating. I don't see a fault in that statement. Percy, with the pizza analogy, he still hasn't forgiven the fact that Athens was named after Athena because she gave them the olive tree. Because Polyphemus struck Tyson with the olive tree with such force it would have flattened me into a Percy pizza with extra olives. Kiddo, Clarice cheering on Percy by going, yeah, Jackson, in your face, Cyclops. Shut up, I wanted to you. Yeah, Polyphemus picked up a boulder. He threw it towards the sound of Clarice's voice, but it fell short, narrowly missing Tyson. Yeah, yeah, Clarice taunted. You throw like, okay, teach you to try marrying you, idiot. Clarice yelled, unable to stand it. Shut up. Too late, Polyphemus threw another boulder, and this time I watched helplessly as it sailed over my head and crashed towards the hull of the Queen Anne's Revenge. Like, I get what they're trying to show with Clarice, but Clarice in the show is so much smarter, so quick on the uptake. I really like show Clarice just a lot more. Like, the layers we got of her was kind of crazy. We need help, I thought. Yes, Tyson's voice loud and clear in my head. I looked over at him startled. I heard Merits and other water spirits speak to me underwater before, but it never occurred to me. Tyson was a son of Poseidon. We could communicate with each other. Crazy. I never falls asleep on the neck of the hippocampus. I didn't know how far the hippocampus could take us. I didn't know where we were going. I just propped up Annabelle so she wouldn't fall off. Covered her in the golden fleece that we had been through so much to get, and said a silent prayer of thanks. Which reminded me, I still hope the gods are dead. You're a genius, I told Annabeth quietly. Then I put my head against the fleece, and before I knew it, I was asleep. Stop it! That was so cute, and that brings us to the end of all the chapters that cover Nobody Gets a Piece episode of the show. Wonderful 3 chapters. We get so much more. And once again, it's so much fun to relive the fights from the book's perspective. We get so much more in terms of the action and I'm really, really loving it. Once again, I get the show. It's also targeted towards kids, so they can't really show a lot of violence. I absolutely get that. But I'm hoping that somewhere down the line we start to see a bit more of the fight and the action sequence, because it would be so good to see it happen on screen. Yeah, I'm hyped. A wonderful book read. So without further ado, I shall see you in the episode reaction of Percy Jackson. We are going to be reacting to episode 7. I shall see you in there. Until then, let me know your favorite thoughts about this particular reread down in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and for additional content like my reaction to Mystery of Arabos, feel free to check out my Patreon and support me so that I can keep making amazing content like this. And I shall see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye. Toodaloo.